Welcome into another edition of That's Deep. I'm Tommy Z, joined as always by Johnny Bravo. Johnny, we've got a weird start time to this card. It's an Asian card where it's 3 a.m. my time. So what's that, midnight your time?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be a weird one. I don't think we're going to have a show. We've got a lot of fighters that we don't know a ton about, some debuting fighters, some fresh fighters on the scene. But nonetheless, it is a UFC card, so we will be breaking it down and hopefully making some money this weekend. So, with that said, Johnny, how you doing? How you feeling? What are your thoughts on this card?
Doing well, feeling good. Last week, pretty good pay-per-view card, pretty good card altogether. John Jones, looked pretty good.
Yep.
Or, Charlie pulls it out.
Yes.
Silva got robbed. So
with Charlie,
yeah,
but
Silva got robbed. So Roofy didn't knock that fucking guy out. So that was kind of disappointing.
That was a tough beat.
That was a rough look. But overall, good card. It was good, and now we're coming into this China card, which it's it's a card, but the quality of fights I don't think are very good. And some interesting names to pronounce here. So
absolutely, we're gonna do our best and see what we can come up with here. With that said, let's jump right into it. First fight on the card, couple semi-familiar names. Got Mahashate taking on Nicholas Mota in the lightweight division. Two guys I'm not super high on either one. Mota coming off a nice win over Tom Nolan. Mahashate, pretty good power, good striker, but he's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this guy. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, interesting. They start the card off with this one. I would have wished they would have just put all the road to UFC first, got it out of the way, and then we just get to the regular card. But yeah, this one's an interesting one. Mahashate, he's a young kid. He's got decent striking. I'm not the high, like you said, I'm not the highest on him. He fights tough. I question his durability and his chin. He can get cracked. We've seen him get cracked before. But he's kind of just like one of these junkyard dogs. He's going to keep coming forward. He can get cracked, and he's just going to keep coming for you. Decent striking, not the greatest. And Mota, he's a guy I'm not high on either. I don't think he has very good cardio. I do think though in that first round he was going to be very dangerous. He's got some power in his hands and he can crack. So early, I can see him putting out Mahashate, but I think the longer this goes, I think Mahashate takes over. Or, it's tough for me. Mota's chin is very questionable as well, so Mahashate can easily put him out. But we are reverting back to the new gloves, I guess, for these cards, just the old gloves for pay-per-view cards, which I don't understand why they wouldn't just go back fully, but okay.
Well, Dana White said that they don't have enough gloves to do every show right now, which I find hard to believe. But I guess it is that. I guess that's that's the excuse. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. Lean Mahashate probably finds the chin and knocks him out, but it would not surprise me if Mota catches him and puts it away. Probably want to target violence here, probably an under. But it's rough to pick a side because I can see both sides winning. So I'd just rather go violence here. Lean,
I agree.
They probably puts him out, but yeah.
I definitely see either guy can win by knockout here. I was tempted to go take the dog shot on Mota, but again, this is an Asian card. If it does go long, the decision could get dicey. So, yeah, I feel like they're kind of both the same guy. It's a very close fight. But yeah, I'll roll with Mahashate here for my pick as well. Next fight on the card is in the bantamweight division. We've got Zhao Long taking on Quang Li. Very different records. We got 26-8 and 8-1. The experience for some of these guys on the Asian scene is, a lot of these guys have a lot of fights. They fight a lot of cans. So you don't really know what you're getting until you see them in the UFC for a couple fights. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's crazy that Quang Li is the older fighter and has less, less fights than Zhao Long. Yeah, we've seen Zhao Long. He was in the finale, I think, last time around, and he lost a close split decision. I was actually on him in that fight. I thought it was a close fight going back and rewatching it. I don't know. It was he was getting kind of taken down, I think, and it was just, I don't know. It just really wasn't a great fight altogether, but he seems like a tough guy. He has good striking. Decently well-rounded, I guess, except his takedown defense. And Quang Li, we've seen him come in on short notice against Gutierrez, and I mean, he fought tough. He really didn't land too much volume, but he was able to get the takedowns.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much with it, but I don't know. Coming in on short notice against Gutierrez, I kind of rate that kind of highly. He's the dog right now. I think I'm going to have to lean that way, and I'm going to pick him. He's going to probably be able to get the takedowns and edge out a decision win.
Yeah, so, man.
For me, Quang Li.
I'm with you on that one. The wrestling capability is there, and this is a very close fight, competitive fight. If we can steal a couple, maybe a round or two with takedowns, especially late, that's all you're really looking for, especially with an underdog. So, yeah, I agree. We'll lean wrestling on this one, and hope he can get the takedowns and doesn't get tired late. But again, taking that Gutierrez fight on short notice, that's a pretty good entryway to the UFC. So you gotta give him some positive points for that. So I'm with you. We'll take the dog shot on this one. All right, our next fight is in the flyweight division. We've got Loner Kavanaugh coming off the Contender Series, taking on Jose Ochoa, and they don't have anything on him for this graphic. Ochoa is a finisher. I think he's finished every fight, and Kavanaugh a finisher as well. Not as many finishes, but close fight. Both guys have finishing capabilities. Kavanaugh coming off a KO win on the Contender Series. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is a fun fight. I like this fight. Kavanaugh was high on him coming into the Contender Series. I actually bet him by decision, and he ends up sparking a guy in the first round. He impressed me with his hand speed and his power. I mean, he's a good, well-rounded kid. I mean, this kid has some potential to be something. I'm high on him. And then I went back and I watched Ochoa tape, and this kid is pretty dynamic. But it's like these guys are good, but it's like the level of competition they're fighting. I don't know what to make of it. It's like, he's starching these guys and getting them out of there and looking good, but it's like the level is, I don't know, but I mean, he looks good on tape. The kid looks like, he's a good, well-rounded kid, and he's got some finishing abilities. He's got power in his hands. He's got some good knees. He's a good, I think he has some potential, but this is a tough fight to go into. I just think Kavanaugh is the more sharper on the feet, the faster guy, and I think he's probably going to be able to piece him up, but Ochoa probably is going to be dangerous. And I think this should be a good scrap and good fight. But yeah, pick Kavanaugh to win. Kavanaugh, maybe he gets him out of there. Maybe knocks him out or gets a decision. But Kavanaugh probably a good parlay piece for me.
Yeah, I agree. And with these gloves, the power doesn't always translate, and they use these gloves on the Contender Series, and he got that KO win. So it's a pretty good look for Kavanaugh. He definitely has legit power, and we know he can win by KO with these gloves. So yeah, I think he's the side here. Definite knockout potential, and both guys going to bring it. But yeah, Kavanaugh's a pick for me. All right, our next fight, as I keep going back and forth from the screen, there we go. Our next fight is in the flyweight division. We have probably the hardest name on the card to say. Namajargol Temen Demberel taking on Carlos Hernandez. Hernandez is one of those kind of gatekeeper entry-level guys. He's fought some really tough guys in the UFC. Very good fighter, well-rounded. Record doesn't look great, but again, he's fought some of the tougher guys in the division. Temen Durembel, I don't know. I'm just gonna call him Temben. I don't know. Coming in, making his debut. Looks pretty solid, but still a lot of unknowns with him. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. Turdumba de Bellabé, whatever, however you say his name. Yeah, the guy's a finisher, man. He comes out like a bat out of hell in round one. He's gonna throw hands. He's got good power. He's a Mongolian killer. These guys are they just walk forward and throw bombs. With everything they got. His takedown defense maybe isn't the best, but he's got some pretty slick, like some slick sweeps, and he can do some grappling himself. He's got some subs. He's okay. But it's like the level of competition. We don't know how good these guys are that he's fighting. But he looks good on tape. Carlos Hernandez is kind of just that one of those veterans, middle of the road guy. He's a hit and miss. He takes a step up and he loses to these upper echelon guys, but then he fights competition like at his level or a little lower. He can come out and have a good performance. That Bondar fight, he looked amazing. He's fought some tough competition. I don't like the juice on him, like at -1. I think it's like last time -197, because this certain Bele guy, he's pretty. He's dangerous, man. And Hernandez's chin has been cracked before, so that's kind of what worries me. But Carlos is the vet. He's been here longer. He's more experienced. I think he probably gets it done. But I don't know. I was kind of leaning, maybe taking a shot. This guy can hit that chin. I don't know. This is a tough one for me. I'm thinking maybe a Terdumbele like KO or inside the distance. But yeah, I lean Hernandez. But yeah, I haven't got there yet, and I might switch later on from more. I think.
Yeah, man, this is one of those fights where like it's tough because Hernandez does have the strength of schedule, but again, he's not winning all those fights. He's competitive for the most part against these higher level guys, but we've seen him get finished. He's an entry level gatekeeper, so as a 2-1 favorite, it's tough. It's tough to back him. I think I'd bet him with the overs. I don't think he's finishing this fight, but again, you never know. So yeah, I don't mind the dog shot here. I haven't bet either side yet. But I'm kind of with you, man. Hernandez is good and he's probably the side, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. And yeah, I think we'll call him Temba. Could definitely get the job done here. So as of now, I'll say this is a dog or pass spot. But we'll see. When I write up the game plan, I'll have a final pick on that one. All right. Our next fight is on paper a bit of a mismatch. We've got Shi Ming taking on Feng Jiaokang. Let's see here. Jiaokang is the minus 380 favorite. It's got a pretty good size advantage here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is low, the lowest of the level women and women's MMA fight. Yeah, Fang, she's 5'7". She's gonna have a 5-inch advantage on her, big reach advantage on her. Yeah, and she's the big girl. I mean, watching her fights, I mean, she kind of likes to stay at range and kind of use her jab and stay at distance and use her striking. But if these girls can get in on her, her takedown defense isn't the best. She can be taken down. But she's got some slick little subs off her back and she does good at getting back to her feet. But yeah, it's like minus 300. I mean, and then Shi Ming is like she's like a little firecracker. She's just gonna keep walking forward. I mean, she's gonna be I think Fang should be able to use her jab and keep her at distance. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably the favorite, but are you comfortable laying minus 300 on this fight? No.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, yeah, the pick is Fang, but nothing. No bets. Pass.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you probably could bet the overs in this one. I don't see it finishing, but again, this is a massive size advantage. So if she gets, she gets her tired or she gets on top and just anything can happen with a size advantage like that. She could catch her with something big. I think it probably goes to a decision. But again, yeah, it's tough. And minus 380, the number just seems to be climbing. People are backing her, but yeah, I mean, I guess maybe as a parlay piece, but tough to really do anything with this fight.
I would suggest just pass this fight.
Yeah, it's very, very, very tough fight. I mean, all the unknowns. So
yeah,
why get yourself in trouble with this one?
Yeah.
All right, our next fight. I can't get any of these to expand, so I'll just pull up the little graphic that I do have. Flyweight division, we've got Kiro Singh Shahoda taking on Dong Young Choi. Close. Actually, you know what? What's that?
To pick them.
Yeah, it is a pick 'em, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So close fight. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this one is it's an interesting one. I mean, Choi, I mean, the Korean kid, I mean, he's got good wrestling. I mean, decent striking, but he can be kind of low volume, I think, but he's got good boxing. Yeah, some wrestling in his back pocket. And Sahota is like he's gonna be the longer guy. He's got some good striking, some good kickboxing, some power in his hands. I mean, he looks okay. He looks decent. Yeah, but his takedown defense is questionable because I mean he's so long, so he's easy to he can get taken down. I mean, in one of his road to UFC fights, he got taken down like a bunch of times, but he's able to pop back up. Yeah, and like I don't know, these guys fight like close fights, man. It's like I think Choi had like 2 splits on the road to UFC, I think. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, can he take him down? Can Choi take him down and like control him? I don't know, maybe, but I think on the feet it's going to be pretty competitive and would lean Sahota. Right now, I'm leaning Sahota to get the job done, to be able to keep it on the feet and use his striking and his boxing to edge out a decision, probably a split. Could be a super close fight. I could see Choi landing takedowns, Sahota getting up, landing the bigger strikes. What these judges are going to score. So yeah, the pick is Sahota, but yeah, it's like I think kind of like Sahota.
Yeah.
I might bet him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna bet either guy, you bet him by decision in this one. But yeah, I agree. The way these fights are scored these days, even if you are getting taken down, if you do get up and you do cause damage on the feet, sometimes that's almost a benefit. It's like they almost lean towards the guy who got taken down but got back up and landed damage, especially if the guy wrestling isn't putting out a ton of output. So, yeah, I agree with you. Sahota, as long as he doesn't get held down, he probably wins this fight. He probably does enough on the feet. And as it gets longer later in the fight, if he's stuffing some takedowns, optics on that always look good. So, yeah, I agree. I think Sahota's worth a shot here. But again, either one that you're betting, you might as well bet it by decision. I don't see a finish happening in this fight. All right, that brings us to our next fight, and I think we're kind of both in the same boat here. We don't have a ton on this one. Got two very raw fighters here. Do you have a take on this one, or
this is one that I didn't look into. Yeah, so I'm have nothing here. So
all right, yeah, I don't have anything legit on this one either. So
yeah,
we will go
one
ahead.
I really get to look into. So
yeah, this is one I'll look into before I write up the game plan. So if there's anything good, any good bets, I'll have it out Friday night. But yeah, I'm nothing there for me. So we will move right along. Which brings us to the main card. First fight on the main card is in the light heavyweight division. We've got Ozzy Diaz taking on Zhang Mingyang. Mingyang, there we go. Well, there we go. Has a knockout win in the UFC, but I'm not exactly sold on him. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Ming Zhang, whatever. Zhang Ming Yang, yeah. Yeah, I mean the guy's he's a finisher. He's gonna come out, he's gonna come after you, he's gonna try to knock you out, he's gonna try to lay damage on you. Watching his fights, I mean, it's like the level of competition though. Once again, we gotta talk about the level of competition. And I mean he's running through these guys, but these guys like are not very good,
Yeah.
So and then in his first fight against Ribeiro, I mean, we've seen Ribeiro isn't very good either. So it's like you knock that guy out, it really doesn't tell me much,
Yeah.
But he's gonna bring violence. So I guess this fight probably doesn't go. Ozzy Diaz, I mean, he's like I don't know, he's a tough guy, man. I mean he trains at a decent gym. He's a tough guy. He's got power in his hands. I don't know, like this Ming Zhang guy, if he gets cracked, he's coming forward, and Diaz might get cracked, but he might be able to crack him back. And can he handle that? I don't know. This one for me is I don't trust Ming Zhang, so I'm gonna have to go take the shot on Diaz here to finish him and knock him out, probably in round one or two. This is just an ultimate shot because I'm just don't trust this guy. But he could easily go out there and roll through Ozzy Diaz. But yeah, this is kind of like a dog or pass for me. This is a good number, and I think this guy Ming Zhang can be faded, and you could probably he can be faded. So yeah, I'm gonna take my shot with Diaz.
Yeah, and this is one of those fights too. Especially we see it a lot in the light heavyweight division, where both guys have power. We think it could easily finish in the first round. And then it just, they get tired after a round and a half. And then you've got a sloppy 3-rounder. And it's just whoever has the better cardio finds a way to edge it out. I mean, I like Diaz. I mean, I don't like Diaz, but I like Diaz in this spot. I think he's got the game to get it done. not a big fan of Zhang. So yeah, I think it's competitive. I think it could go either way, but I like Diaz. I think he could find the chin, but I think he could also just grind out an ugly, sloppy decision. So that's where I'm rolling on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Dog or pass for me. That shit. I mean, this guy means Yang got knocked out by that dude Osmont. Was it that guy who had that big Fugazi record and he got signed to the UFC? Yeah, I forgot his name, but he lost to that guy.
Is it Mirzakhanov? No, it's not Mirzakhanov.
No, it's not Mirzakhanov. It's like Murdov or something. Yeah, but
Murdov is what it is. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I don't know,
but yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Just not great.
Can't trust this. Can't trust him.
No. All right, our next fight remains in the light heavyweight division. We've got Volkan Ozdemir, who's, he's been around a while. He's coming off a couple wins. Taking on Carlos Ulberg, I was not super high on him coming into the UFC when he lost his debut. He's kind of turned it around lately. He seems like, he's got the striking. He's worked on his cardio. He came out in that debut fight and, kind of just emptied the gas tank and then just got tired and got finished. He's shown a more well-rounded game. Ozdemir, to me, he's knocking out chinny guys. He does have some power, but nothing to write home about. I think he's older. Just not a fan of this guy. He's a guy that I look to fade quite often. Ulberg, not a guy that I love to back, but I feel like in this spot he's pretty live. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Volkan, no time, Ozdemir, man. This guy has got me the last couple of fights. I've tried to fade him. I thought he was done. He looked terrible in the Krylov fight. And it's like I thought he was done, but then I fade him 2 times and against Bogdan Guskov. I mean, that guy, I don't know. That guy is not very good, but I mean, I thought he was just done. His chin was gone. But yeah, I mean, he came out and he finished. He's got 2 finishes, knocked out Chinny Johnny Walker. It's like, I don't know. This guy is he's got power in his hands. He's kind of low volume and just like a technical striker, but he does have power. He can hit. And like you said, Ulberg lost he came out like he threw like I think he threw like 100 strikes in that first round and just completely gassed. And Teflon took over. But I mean, he looked amazing in that first round, But I think he's made improvements. He's at a good gym, He's with Izzy and all those boys, And he's made each fight. He's kind of seemed to learn how to pace himself, and the cardio looks good. I mean. Yeah, I'm kind of high on Ulberg. I like his striking. Starches Menafield was supposed to fight Jamal Hill. Somehow that fight got called off. That
would have been an interesting one to see too.
Yeah, Ulberg and Jamal Hill would have been a good one. I don't know. I just think Ulberg's boxing is more cleaner. I mean, I think he can starch Ozdemir. I'm high on Ulberg this week. I think he can piece this guy up, and I think he could probably knock him out and find the chin.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. I don't think Ozdemir. I think he is done. I think he got that. He just got a couple favorable matchups in the last 2.
Yeah, he got Bogdan Guskov, who completely sucks, and he got Johnny Walker, who has absolutely no chin. Like a gust of wind will knock out Johnny Walker,
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I like Ulberg. I think Ulberg could finish him. I definitely do. I just think he's the overall better fighter, and as long as he doesn't gasp. I mean, that really hasn't been a problem for him in recent fights. So, pace himself, do the job, and he could find a finish. But if not, Ozdemir just doesn't offer much in terms of volume or anything. So yeah, I think Ulberg is a great spot here. All right, our next fight is in the women's flyweight division. We have Wang Kong taking on Gabriela Fernandez. This is an interesting one. Fernandez, not over the moon, but she's definitely a pretty decent, well-rounded fighter. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Kong Wang came out like in her debut, came out, starched, ran through the girl, looked really good. Yeah, she has a win over Valentina. Great striking, great kickboxing. Pretty decent, well-rounded fighter. I mean, I'm kind of high on her. I mean, I think she's a killer. Fernandez, she's a decent fighter. Like, she's got good striking. She's decent, middle of the road. I think she can make improvements and get better. But it's like another big women's MMA favorite. It's
Massive.
like, what can you really do? And it's like she can knock her out. The knockout's probably going to be juiced. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but knockout's probably going to be juiced pretty big on her. She could finish her, I'm high on Kong Wang. I think she wins the fight, but it's like, what can you do with -600? You're gonna have to pick.
Well,
it's a decision or a knockout.
Her knockout on DK is +250.
Oh, that could be tasty.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. Wow.
+400 for the sub, and then
inside the distance is. What's inside the distance?
Inside the distance is, let's see here, +130.
Yeah, that might be where I look, because I can see her maybe getting a takedown and grabbing a sub. We've seen Fernandez taking down. That's her big flaw, is her takedown, defense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought coming into this one. Like, Fernandez, she's got some UFC experience. Can she survive? Like, that's the biggest question. You're getting plus money on some of these finish props, though. So,
yeah, that might be where I look. Maybe an inside the distance on Kong Wang.
Yeah. I mean, because Wang, she's got the goods. She's
we've seen she's got power in her hands.
Obviously, the UFC has a very good story if she wins one or two more fights, and Valentina's sitting there as champion. Very easy to sell that fight. So, she's the side. She's the pick to win. It's just a matter of how we want to bet her. And I mean, the +250 or +280, whatever. Whatever I said it was, it's not bad.
I don't mind the +130 on the ITD. That's decent.
Yeah.
So, I'll probably bet that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're not going to bet her on the money line. So, it's not a bad look. So, I'm with you. I think inside the distance, maybe just be a little bit safer, but I think a finish is definitely possible. All right, next fight is in the welterweight division. We have Song Kanan taking on Muslim Salikov, two pretty low volume guys. Salikov, extremely low volume. He has some decent grappling. He's a well-rounded fighter. Kanan, pretty good power. I guess both guys have decent power. But like I said, both guys relatively low volume. Salikov throws less volume, I guess, out of the two. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Muslim Salikov, 40 years old. Good striking. He's got good power in his hands. As we've seen him get he's knocked out Fiallo, and he won a split decision against Ponzinibbio in his last time out. He's a good striker, pretty well rounded, low volume, kind of slow, plodding, old guy. But he can crack you. He does have good power in his hands. San Kanan is another guy. You can't really trust him. He battered Ricky Glenn pretty much, but Ricky Glenn's pretty much done.
Yeah.
So I don't really rate that win too highly, even though he did look good. But he pretty much had nothing coming back. So it's kind of hard to rate him on that level. Ian Gary knocked him out. He's been knocked out multiple times, in the UFC. I don't know. This one's a tough one. I could see it being close, or I could see Salikov knocking him out. I lean that the old man has one left in him and edges out a decision here, or maybe even catches the questionable chin, of the Kanan. So, yeah, the pick is Salikov for me.
Yeah, I'm on Kanan here. I just think, a little bit more volume. Salikov could clearly catch him. That's definitely not off the table. But yeah, just he's an Asian fighter, and it could be a very low volume striking affair. I think he could sneak out a decision, even if it's not warranted. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with Kanan on this one. No confidence in it, but I think just a little bit better volume, and we could see some.
No, I
shaders,
don't like the price tag on him is -180, 190. I don't like that at all. But I don't know. It's a close fight. I don't mind your dog shot, but yeah, I think Salikov.
Yeah,
gets it done.
But I guess the knockout's possible, but I don't know. I feel like these guys are just gonna kind of pot shot each other for 3 rounds, and the overs are live. Both guys definitely have power, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I could see it going long. Yeah, definitely.
Ugly fight to say the least.
Terrible fight.
Ugly fight on an ugly card. Not so ugly here is in our next fight. We've got a women's strawweight fight. Got Tabitha Ricci taking on Yan Janan. Janan just fought for the title earlier in the year. She was finished twice in that fight, and somehow we still didn't cash a inside the distance ticket. Taking on Tabitha Ricci, who, baby shark. She's high volume, good striker. Actually has a pretty good grappling game, which could come into play here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yan Janan, as we've seen in the Whaley fight, pretty much got completely dominated and beat down. Somehow the fight wasn't called, I was grateful for that because I had Whaley laddered up to a decision. So that was good for me.
It worked out for you.
Yeah, you guys were all on the finish, and I'm over here on the decision. Yeah. So it worked out well for me. Yan, she's got good striking, good striker, but her big liability is the takedowns, she's pretty much easily taken down. We've seen her in a close fight with Dern, where Dern was able to take her down, and that's pretty much her big thing, is if she could keep it on the feet, she could keep it competitive. But if she gets taken down, she doesn't really offer much from bottom, and she's pretty much stuck from what I see. So it's like, she keep it standing. She's the rightful favorite, but I just think Ricci, the improvement she's made in the boxing over the last couple of fights I've been pretty impressed. She's throwing a lot of volume. It's not really landing the biggest shot, but she's making it look good. You know what I mean? And she does have that wrestling in her back pocket. She can go to that wrestling. She's got great BJJ, you know. Yeah, this is a baby shark for me all the way at Dog Bunny. Give me the young up and coming girl. You know, UFC, they're trying to propel her to the top. Her boyfriend signed to Dana White's boxing promotion. You know, she's always around. You always see her at all the events. You know, yeah, I think it could be a close fight, and I think Ricci with the takedowns can edge it out here. So yeah, Baby Shark for me, Baby Shark money line. Yeah, dog shot here.
100%. I'm with you, man. Honestly, I think she should just spam takedowns, just force the grappling. She could even find a finish on the ground. We saw Janan literally get choked out in that fight, and I mean she was asleep. Round ended, and they woke her up and they let her keep fighting. But you know, Ricci's not a finisher, but she definitely has a large advantage on the ground, or at least on paper, I would say she does.
Yeah,
so
her
yeah, I like
jiu-jitsu
Ricci.
is pretty good. I mean, she's got some good jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
And her early UFC career, she was landing 3-4 takedowns a fight. So we saw her land 3 against Angela Hill in her last fight. So kind of going back to her roots a little bit there. So yeah, I mean, that's the path. I think DraftKings wise, yeah, I feel like you have to play her because.
And I think she has the fight IQ to know that she has a big advantage on the ground. She's a smart girl. She's going to know to take this girl down. So
absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, like her striking is not the greatest, but she goes forward and she throws punches.
She's made a lot of improvements throughout her career. Each fight, I think she's getting better and better.
Yeah, and she just, you know, she's willing to go forward, put the volume out there, you know, and yeah, I think she's more than live in this fight. I think she's a solid play here. All right, that brings us to our main event. This is an interesting one. In the bantamweight division, we have Petr Yan, who, you know, he's got coming off a win, but he had a tough little stretch there. A couple losses to Aljo Marab, close decision with Sean O'Malley. Taking on Figueiredo, who was former flyweight champ. He's moved up to bantamweight. He's looked good since doing so. Question is, can he sustain 5 rounds against the true bantamweight and Petr Yan? What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. This one is probably for, you think this is a title eliminator, right? Next guy
it's got to be up there for sure.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, I was like super high on Yan, you know, going into that Aljo fight. And I mean, the guy looked unbeatable, like pretty much. I mean, we thought he would be the guy to kind of be the champion for a while. You know, and then he threw that stupid knee to Aljo, and then kind of, you know, like the script was pretty much written on him. Like if you could take him down and hold him down, he's going to have real problems there and getting back up if you can hold him down, you know. But I mean, he's got good striking. I mean, I'm really, you know, I like Yan as a fighter, you know. He had a decent performance against Song Yadong, his last fight. You know, it was a close fight. It was a little, I was on him on that fight, Peter, but like, it was kind of close and kind of made it dicey. He kind of takes that first couple of rounds off and then kind of flips it on in 3, 4, 5. You know, and then he just completely gets dominated by Marab. So I don't know. Yeah, the number is kind of crazy though. Davidson Figueiredo, former champion, you know, pretty decent, all well-rounded guy, good power in his hands. I mean, went to war with Moreno 4 times, you know, moved up, and since he's moved up, he's looked, I mean, pretty much amazing, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think Petr Yan's going to be able to edge it out, but it worries me all the time that he takes those early rounds off. Like, you know what I mean? It's concerning, you know. You don't, like, so maybe a live betting spot where Figueiredo has success early and then maybe you jump on Yan live. But Peter Yan, maybe a parlay piece. Maybe I can get there in a parlay. But one way I was looking at it was the Figueiredo plus 5.5 would be something that interests me. I definitely think I don't see anybody getting finished here. And I can definitely see Figueiredo banking some early rounds with maybe mixing in a takedown or two. We've seen him; he's kind of gone to his wrestling a little bit lately. So, yeah, I think Jan wins the fight, but I think it's a competitive, close fight. I don't mind the Figueiredo plus 5.5. And yeah, I think it's probably a Jan decision, and then maybe live bet Jan, just watching it to see. Yeah, but I think it's a great fight, close fight. Yeah, I think Jan gets it done probably by decision.
Yeah, I'm. My confidence in Jan is actually fairly high in this one, but I agree with what you're saying. He could start slow. We've seen it happen before.
Pretty much
Figgy
in every
is,
fight.
yeah. Figgy is
Except the
is
Sean
very,
O'Malley fight, the Sean O'Malley fight is where he came out and tried to lay it on him.
Yeah.
But other than
Yeah,
that,
like
it's been all slow starts.
it's weird because I guess in that Aljo fight, he just looked so much better than Aljo in the first fight, and
Oh yeah,
I think that kind of shook his confidence a little bit because he's always been a slow starter, but it seemed like he was kind of tentative even in later rounds in fights. I feel like he's kind of back though. I feel like this is a spot where we might see the old Petr Yan where he's just that marching his opponents down late, where he's just like a kind of like a zombie walking forward, putting out volume, putting out damage. And Figueiredo, he's a very good fighter, but he's never really been known for his cardio. So I think those later rounds, the pendulum really swings in favor of Jan.
yeah.
And I think the plus 5.5 is definitely not a bad look at all because Figueiredo gets could get off to a really hot start. Live betting is definitely a good play, but overall, I think Jan is a good parlay piece. I think he's tough to finish. He's very skilled. He's lost to only champions, and yeah, I think he's on his way back. So I like Jan. Obviously, the minus 300 I don't love, but yeah, with the overs, you can wait, live bet it. But yeah, Jan is the side for me. I think this is a very favorable matchup for him with the cardio, and I think he gets the job done here.
Yep.
All right, so that's it. All 13 fights broken down. Like we said, it is a basically middle of the night start time wherever you are here in the United States. So obviously,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't think
debating whether or not to get up at 12 o'clock and watch road to UFC fights, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's a decision that needs to be made.
yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, 3 o'clock for me is tough because yeah, I don't know. That leads the card ends probably at 9 a.m. for me. So if I stayed up through the night, I'd almost be sleeping my Saturday away. So I think I may try to go to bed early on Friday night and wake up at 3 right when the fights start and see what we get. I mean, obviously I'm going to want to watch. So
well, I would love it if it was at 3 for me, but it's at 12 for me. I wake up at 3 a.m. every day, so it's like
yeah. I mean, I'm generally up at 5.
So
it's usually 5 for me. So it's only a couple hour difference. So, get to bed a little bit earlier, wake up a little bit earlier. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, hopefully we don't see any cancellations. We've seen that. We saw that last week. That was tough with the Weidman fight. After the DFS locked, that's brutal.
They rebooked that fight.
Did they?
For 310.
All right, good. Well, at least I can hopefully cash that Weidman ticket, or well, I'll have to rebet it, but
The catch weight now,
yeah,
195 too.
it's what?
Catch weight fight, 195, I guess.
Okay. Which is, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, we'll wake up. I don't think there's going to be a live stream. If there is, I'll pop on it. Maybe I can convince Keg to make one, and I can potentially decide to go live or not. We'll see. But as always, we've got the NFL, we've got college football, we've got hockey going, we've got NBA going. So we've got a lot going on at Nuke the House. Use code Nuke November, get your free week, and tune in. We've got Thursday night football. Tune in for that. We'll have that live stream. Obviously streaming all day on Sunday. But yeah, I don't have anything else. Johnny, if you got anything, let us know. If not, we'll get out of here.
No, that's it. Good luck with your bets. See you guys this weekend, and good luck.
All right, guys. As always, good luck this weekend. Let's cash some tickets.